It's only been 2 weeks, but Savio Moreira de Oliveira has taken this league by storm. In this video, we are going to be analyzing the intriguing rhythm of his game as he danced through the Community Shield final against Manchester United and took his first bold steps in the Premier League with Chelsea. We'll also unravel the beauty of his strengths, the raw edges yet to be polished, and draw parallels to the artistry of Riyad Mahrez. Is Savinho the final piece of a new era at Manchester City? Let's take a closer look. Only 2 matches in and he's already captivated the eyes of viewers all across the continent. I didn't know Mahrez was back at Manchester City. I understand why Savio added Inho to his name. The real deal. The South American came in with a £33 million price tag, having won 11 trophies in his career with 21 goal involvements last season. What's more interesting is something that lies in his statistics from last year. Now this really excites me. Savinho ranks in the 91st and 93rd percentile for both progressive carries and successful take-ons, respectively. Now this is of course comparing him to attacking midfielders and wingers in the last year. But of course, the main way and my personal favorite way to judge a player is through the eyes. Let's look at some footage. Let's start with his game against Manchester United in the Community Shield final. Right from the get-go in this first clip, he showed signs of confidence and flair. Great first touch from a long switch from Oscar Bob to start off. Now this right here showcases the statistics that I showed you earlier. Pass from Matheus Nunes, and immediately in his mind, it's instant attack. He goes directly to the goal. Unlucky with the pass, but it's incredibly promising. Next up, we see more footage of his carries, this time from a pass from Josko Gvardiol, and he instantly explodes to get past the defender and still manages to get a great cross-off in the end. I can definitely see someone like Erling Haaland getting on the end of one of those. This next clip showcases an area that, in my opinion, he needs to improve on: combination passes and his vision. Good link-up play with Erling Haaland, but he unfortunately drags the ball out of play when exposed to pressure from the oncoming midfielders. Additionally, we see here a pass to Matheus Nunes, who is really quick by the way, who still couldn't get on the end of one of those passes. I've played at a high level for years, and I can immediately tell you that the weight on the ball as you grow older is something that you need to pay attention to the most. You can instantly tell the difference between an amateur or a skilled veteran by looking at the speed of their pass relative to the accuracy. I've played with professionals and against professionals several times, and I can tell you that adapting to the speed of the ball relative to its accuracy is far more difficult. It's definitely something that Savinho will definitely get better at as he grows older. These next 2 clips highlight more of his deficiencies in my opinion for now, albeit he is playing in a new system with new players. He will obviously get better at this. This last clip is really important to me. It's something that I really wanted to highlight. Now, as I said before, I did play with professionals. I played a couple of 2nd division games in Turkey against professionals when I was 18, and this is something that I didn't do much of in the game, and that is assert myself. It may not seem like much, but this was a pretty forceful pass from Josko Gvardiol, and the fact that Savio, without hesitation, went directly after it, and with a simple short pass, restored the calmness we like to see in a Guardiola system. So, what did we see so far? We saw some misweighted passes, good touches, direct play, and most importantly, assertion. Say what you want about the Community Shield, it is technically a final, but let's move on to the most important game that he's played thus far, which is his Premier League debut against Chelsea at the Bridge. But before we dwell into that, if you are enjoying the video, please hit that like button, consider subscribing if you are new to the channel. Would love to have you on board. I am less than 300 subscribers away from 7,000 subscribers. That would be an absolute dream for the start of the season. Ooh, I've got some good things planned for this season, especially football. Twitter season number 2 is starting this week. I cannot wait. In my honest opinion, this was a very memorable debut to say the least. He looked more calm this game, with better touches and most importantly better link-up play, something we saw very little of against Manchester United. We see him pick up the ball here and immediately go in for the attack against Cucurella. Good shot by Kevin De Bruyne, but the directness in this man is just magnificent to see at such an early age. One of the main reasons that this was so memorable was a clip like this. Say what you want about Cucurella, but this is a European champion, and Savinho was cooking him at 20 years old for a vast majority of the game in his first game in the Premier League. Absolutely stupendous. Watch how he's dribbling the ball and look at his close control. If your eyesight is a little blurry, you'd still think Riyad Mahrez is here. Speaking of blurry, I apologize for it in the last clip, but here we see another example of his burst of acceleration and deceleration to allow the space to open up for a nice tidy pass to Jeremy Doku. To summarize, we saw an impressive debut. Better passes, more link-up play, and exquisite bursts of pace and wizardry to bypass defenders. No wonder why Todd Boehly left early. The way Savinho dribbles obviously draws parallels to one Riyad Mahrez, a legend of the Premier League and one of the most gifted football players to ever play in the league. The close control dribbling coupled with quicker speed and acceleration makes for a deadly combo for the Brazilian. Comparing Savinho to Riyad Mahrez reveals a fascinating blend of old and new. Mahrez, with his graceful dribbling and pinpoint precision, has long been a maestro on the right wing, dictating the tempo with his silky touches and incisive passes. His ability to create something out of nothing, cutting inside to unleash those signature curling shots, made him a cornerstone of Manchester City's attack. Savinho brings a youthful exuberance and a raw, untamed energy that hints at boundless potential. While he shares Riyad Mahrez's flair for creativity and an eye for goals, Savinho's play, given his young age, is marked by a certain unpredictability, a fearless desire to take on defenders, break lines, and impose his will on the game. Where Mahrez is a refined artist, painting with delicate strokes, Savinho is a vibrant, emergent force, still honing his craft, but with the potential to carve his own legacy in the Premier League. In my opinion, the torch has been passed, and in Savinho we see the beginning of a new chapter, echoing Mahrez's brilliance yet promising something unique of his own. That begs the question, do we as fans consider Savinho a starter for Manchester City from the get-go? Now look, obviously we are in a very good spot. We have a lot of choices on the wings. We have Grealish, we have Doku, we would have had Oscar Bob, but he will be back in January, obviously. Savinho, Bernardo Silva, and Phil Foden. But in my opinion, I would like to see a lineup with Phil Foden in the midfield with Jeremy Doku and Savinho on the right. Now obviously, given that we have Pep Guardiola, he likes to have players that are versatile, that can play multiple positions, that have a good weak foot. Savinho can definitely play on that right-hand side, on that left-hand side, and in some cases in that number 10 role. Now here's the thing, I just need a little bit more convincing. When I look at that left-hand side and I see Jeremy Doku and Josko Gvardiol, I feel pretty safe in terms of our defensive output. On the right-hand side, I don't quite feel as safe with Rico Lewis and Savinho. And that's only because of the lack of experience that I've seen with those two. They still have to convince me that they can play together on the same side. Obviously, he's not had the best of forms, but we could potentially look at putting Rico Lewis on the bench. And if he does well, putting Kyle Walker back into the lineup on that right-hand side. There's definitely more ways that we can look into this. We could obviously have Manuel Akanji shift onto the right. We have both Rico Lewis and Kyle Walker on the bench with Nathan Ake coming in. And this could potentially mean the switch of Nathan Ake and Ruben Diaz on the account for the balance of their strong foot. Again, there are a lot of possibilities here. Here's the thing though. I have to see more. I think this next upcoming game, if Savinho is fully fit against Ipswich at home, is going to be a very big test. Say what you want about Chelsea. Huge club, historic club, European champions, two-time European champions. A lot of money, a lot of talented football players. It is at the Bridge and he performed spectacularly well. Better than I had imagined, better than I'm sure a lot of people would have imagined. The thing is that I wasn't shocked at what he was doing. I was just shocked at the idea of him doing it on his first game in the Premier League against a club like Chelsea. That was stupendous. In the short footage that I've seen, he does have a pretty decent weak foot. The thing is, some of his passes don't have the proper weights just yet, as you've seen in the videos that I showed you. That is something that he's going to be learning every single day with Pep Guardiola. He's going to be honing onto that craft 24/7. He is going to get better with that. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, remember, he is 1 year younger than Oscar Bob. 1 year younger than Oscar Wilde. When I first found that out a couple of months ago, I was shocked as hell. Like, I literally couldn't believe it. I honestly think we are looking at a future superstar winger in the Premier League for the next several years. His dribbling ability is very similar to Riyad Mahrez. The close control dribbling that he has is exquisite to watch, but the burst of acceleration from Savinho is something that Riyad Mahrez did not have. Can potentially think of Savinho as a young Riyad Mahrez, but with more pace. Again, that should scare the living hell out of the Premier League for the next several years. Well, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed the clips that I showed you of his debut against Manchester United and his Premier League debut, showing the parallels between him and Riyad Mahrez, looking at some of his weaknesses and looking at a lot of his strengths. Savinho is an exquisite football player. He's only 20 years old and he's only going to get better from here. I honestly believe we are looking at a future superstar in the league. I cannot wait to see the type of player he's going to become for the next several years. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all next time.